Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we're going to share some of our experience with the platform known as Whatnot. Whatnot's something that I've been using to buy cards for a few years now, since I started. I've even sold on Whatnot myself as a streamer. Nothing crazy. Actually lost quite a bit of money as a seller there because I would see all the bigger streamers doing dollar starts, and I would try to imitate that to get traction and build a base. However, it didn't really work out. I still use it every now and then when I have cards that I want to offload and just let them go for quick, right? The last time I did it was in August of 2025, and yeah, cards sold pretty quick. Don't want to say I made money, but I was selling bulk and some lower end cards. I used 3 to kind of as an attention grabber. Today we're not going to talk about the selling experience. We're going to talk about the buying experience and what that's like on a platform like Whatnot. So over the last year or two, I had been buying pretty heavy to build an inventory because I wanted to vend. I wanted to do this and make it a business. Now it's really more of a collection. If I have extra stuff, yeah, I'll sell it on eBay or whatever. So I did offload a lot of my collection, and I'm starting over in essence, and gonna take it a lot slower, really focusing on the cards that I like, the sets that I like, sealed collection, slabs, and even ungraded singles. I'm not sure if you can see it, but we have a card that a lot of people consider a grail, Poncho Pikachu. This is the Charizard X Pretend Pikachu. And I bought this from someone that I thought was a reputable seller on Whatnot, someone that I've worked with in the past. And this person used to have the cards pre-conditioned, right? So they would send it to somebody who would essentially seal them without grading them and just mark the condition on the card. I bought quite a few cards off of him like that. I don't believe I've graded very many cards that I've purchased from him. The few that I did were those encapsulated cards. I just, cut the sleeve open and send it to PSA or to Beckett. They didn't really grade very well, to be honest. But this is one of the bigger cards that I've bought from this seller. And I sent it to PSA and it came back as altered. So this is a card I didn't notice. I didn't really inspect. I just saw it come in. It looked really clean, minty. There was no whitening. Couldn't really tell if there was any kind of like surface condition or anything. So I've had this card for a few weeks now, and I'm going to be getting a refund from Whatnot, not from the seller. Kind of went through Whatnot support to get that done. But it's not the first card that I get from this seller that has some kind of defect that wasn't stated in the stream. And I don't work with a lot of sellers on Whatnot just because I don't trust a lot of them, right? You gotta kind of build a relationship and find someone that's reputable. I thought this guy was reputable. Recorded a lot of their streams. In the past, I've also bought a card that was inked. It was Venusaur EX from Fire Red Leaf Green. Again, it wasn't disclosed. I didn't really care about it because it went in my binders, right? So it's just something for the personal collection. I overpaid for it in the sense that it wasn't disclosed, but other than the ink or water damage or whatever it is that it has, it's got like little brown along the white edge of the card, right? And there's multiple spots. So I'm saying this ink, maybe it was Sharpie, maybe like the black layer bled through or something, or coffee stains, I don't know. The point is it wasn't disclosed. So in paying for a near mint copy, I got a good price. I want to say I paid like $80. This was about 6 months ago, so the market wasn't really hot yet. However, the card is technically damaged, so I did overpay for it. The most I would have probably been willing to pay for it would have been, I don't know, $30 to $40 at the time. But I didn't make a big deal out of it because it's like, all right, whatever, it's going in my binder anyway. I already had a copy of the card that was graded. No big deal. But this one I sent to get graded, express shipping, the express grading process with PSA, which is, it gets pricey, it gets expensive. While I am getting the money back for this card, I'm not going to get refunded or compensated for the grading fee and the shipping that it costs to get the card back from PSA. All this is say, be careful who you buy from on Whatnot. If you're using that platform, I think I'm going to start using it less and less and take a better look at the cards before I send them to get graded. The alteration here seems to be that you're probably not going to be able to see it, but the card was pressed and has like some water damage there. They probably had some indents or something that they try to take out. But yeah, that's the alteration. And I know a lot of cards nowadays are altered, polished or whatever. PSA might catch some of them, might not. It doesn't really matter. I think disclosing what has been done to the card is something that sellers should be forthright about if they have any knowledge of it. I spoke to the seller. He said he didn't do anything to the card. He gave me his source, you know, things that maybe it was that person. He did offer to pay for the card, like essentially buy it back off me. I think that's a pretty big hassle. So I just went through Whatnot support. And I'm gonna send it back to them, have them reimburse me. They're paying for the return label. Usually seller is protected when that happens, so it shouldn't be any money out of his pocket, I don't think. Maybe there is, maybe he gets flagged for, you know, the returned items. But this is actually the second time that I buy this card. And the last time I bought it, it had a similar issue from another seller. So just be aware, you know, these big cards, more than likely you're gonna have some kind of alteration if you're buying it from Whatnot. So be careful. And similar to what happened with this card, I reached out to Whatnot. They reimbursed me. I haven't bought from that seller since, or at least not anything crazy. Probably gonna do the same here. I'm just gonna, you know, take a step back and try not to buy like big hitter cards from Whatnot. Maybe I'll use eBay since they got their authenticity guarantee service. I'm not sure if that flags for alterations, or I'll just buy the card graded. If not, the other option is, hey, go to a card show, see if you can find a nice clean copy. You can inspect it on the spot too, right? So maybe take like a little flashlight, use your phone flashlight or a black light or something that'll help you get a better view at the cards so you can spot any issues or defects that it may have before you make the purchase, especially if you intend on grading it. If this card was just going in my binder, one, I never would have known that it was altered. I would have way overpaid for it, and yeah, then it'd be my problem. I did reach out to Whatnot late. They only give you 7 days for a refund if anything's wrong with the card, but I couldn't have done it any earlier because I sent it to PSA, so it was about 20 days before reaching out to Whatnot. Maybe a little bit less. Maybe it was like 2.5 weeks. All right, because I dropped it off at Worlds. Week went by. I thought they graded it. I thought I got a 10 because I saw the little confetti pop up in the PSA portal, but it was just, it's done grading. And then I couldn't find a grade when I put the cert number in. When it finally became available and visible, it said do not grade, altered. I was like, shoot, there goes that. I think there was some polish left over as well in the back that I didn't see when I received the card. Again, I was looking at this through rose colored glasses, card that I really like and have been wanting for a few years. Unfortunately, it just hasn't worked out. I pretty much paid what a graded card goes for, almost. It was a stupid buy anyway. Don't pay graded value for raw cards unless, you know, you think that it's gonna really do well in the grading process. Even then, probably try to avoid that. If a seller comes up to you and it's like, hey, this card's gonna grade a 10, I want to charge you, I don't know, PSA 9 price or a little bit of a premium. It's like, well, grade it yourself, I'll buy it from you when it comes back from PSA. A lot of sellers are gonna kind of tell you to go away. They're not gonna want to sell it to you. Look at the raw value, pay close to the raw value, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but don't go anywhere near the value of a graded card. That is stupid, that is dumb, that is irresponsible. This was irresponsible of me to buy, especially with the alterations. All right, so learn from my mistakes, be careful on Whatnot, vet your sellers, and build relationships. Like I said, this guy, the seller, not a bad guy. He did offer to buy it back. Sure, he buys a lot of cards, so some are bound to slip through the cracks, but yeah, Whatnot should take care of you for the most part. I've heard stories that they don't. Again, this is better to have bought it Whatnot than if I bought it at a card show and didn't notice it till I got home, because then I wouldn't have been able to get a refund. It would have been more work to find a seller, prove to the seller that the card is the one that I bought from them, and get them to buy it back. Essentially, a lot of people will give you shit, especially in this market. There's a lot of bad actors, a lot of, you know, quote unquote scalpers. They're just in it for the money. They don't care about the community, right? A lot of people are using the community word. So just be careful out there. Do your due diligence. It is buyer beware in essence, right? When you're on your own buying cards, you're gonna come across fakes, you're gonna come across altered cards. Be very careful on whatnot, card shows, shit, even eBay. Look for signs. Look for signs. Make sure before you make your purchase, if you make your purchase online, you do have that little bit more protection. Don't purchase on your debit card or directly from your bank account. Use a credit card. Worst case, you do a chargeback, right? If the issue can't be resolved. I've never had to do a chargeback for Pokemon cards, but I've had to do it for like some travel things. And as long as you have proof that, you know, the card or whatever your purchase is was inadequate, or maybe terms of service didn't align, right? I'll give you an example of the chargeback I did. So I was traveling to France and I called the hotel because I had to cancel. We weren't able to travel together to France. I didn't want to leave without loan. So we ended up staying back. Everything went smooth as far as getting the money back or being able to rebook flights to somewhere else except for the hotel. Called the hotel, let them know, hey, we're not going to be able to make it. Can we get a partial refund? I understand that it's last minute, so you're not going to do a full refund, but can we get a partial refund? They said no, F off. So this was like a month-long process, and I booked through Expedia. I was able to get the terms of service and the reservation contract where it said you'll get a partial refund up to 50% back for any cancellations. The hotel had said that there was no refunds, so I ended up just getting the documents, stopped communications with the hotel, started the dispute process, and turned that into my bank as documented proof. They went ahead and did the dispute first without any documentation. However, the hotel, you know, counter disputed, and then it just became a process, right? It kind of becomes like a legal process. If there's anything that's binding, contracts, anything in document, then that's helpful. Check out Pokestop TCG, I think it's his name, right? He just got 2 altered Charizards at a card show, mind you, and unfortunately, because he didn't have any like written contracts or documentation other than the video, you know, he's kind of out of luck. He's out of that money, but we know what the guy looks like. Altered cards are out there. It's not the first video you're probably going to see about altered cards. Again, the main point here is to be aware that cards like these are out there. You're probably going to come across one if you're in the hobby long enough, and be vigilant. If you get it and it's altered, don't try to resell it to somebody as authentic and unaltered. Disclose it, let them know. Try to get your money back if you can. Flag the person that's the bad actor if you think they did it maliciously. Just be aware. Poncho Pikachu, alteration in the back. PSA returned it back to me real quick, no grade. I'm out close to $400 for that express grading, but at least I'll get my money back for this time. So happy ending. Goodbye.